Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ceramics 1. We're going to cover a few things that you're going to need to start accumulating in order to begin a lot of our hand building projects that I have in store for you. So, one thing you do have to consider is what kind of base you want to work on. So normally for sculptures or doing any sort of hand building in a ceramic studio, you're going to find a lot of wooden boards. Wooden boards are, I guess, maybe not the easiest thing to come by. So there are other options that I've thought about for you while you're working at home. So normally you can just work on a wooden board, sculpt on here. Um, what's great about wooden boards is that since they're made out of wood, there's some airflow going through it. And so your wet projects tend to dry up a little bit more on the bottom. It makes it so you can remove your projects faster from the base because you usually need to have some sort of base to work on. But if you can't come across a wooden board, which you can find like honestly near trash cans or in alleyways next to construction sites, stuff like that, you can also start to save up some cardboard. So this was originally a cardboard box, right? That I just simply cut up and I folded to be like this. So after you make this cardboard box base, you can put some packing tape around the edges so that you have a stiff, strong base to work your projects on, your wet clay projects. You will need a bucket in order to just access water as you work on your projects. I recommend a bucket that's just a little bit bigger so that you can put both of your hands inside of it to wash off any sort of slip, which is like kind of ceramic sludge. You can wipe that off of your hands while you work. If you have a wooden table, I would just definitely recommend putting down some oilcloth like I have in the background here. Also, placemats are really good to set on the table to do projects on, like plastic placemats are great. I bought this canvas. I recommend canvas as well to lay down on the table to work your projects on. This canvas that I bought you can get it from like a Lowe's or Home Depot. I got this from an art store, which they sold it by the yard. So I got 3 yards of canvas for like $3 from the art store. And what's nice about working on canvas is that it absorbs a little bit of moisture while you're working on it so that you can you'll see as you work on your projects, so you don't ever want your projects to become too dry or too wet while you're working on them. So I recommend canvas as a good just platform to sculpt on top of. Although you still probably want to start accumulating like cardboard bases or wooden bases so that you can move your projects easily around your home studio. I like to recommend saving up little plastic jars like this. Like this is from takeout, eating at a restaurant. You can use like an ice cream Tupperware container. Anything that has a nice tight lock grid or airlock lid. So you can grab one of these and make slip or save some slip while you work. And we'll talk more about what slip really does and how we can add it to our projects to make our projects stronger. A sponge is nice. A kitchen sponge will work. I have this rolling pin. You can get a lot of these random things from a Goodwill. I highly recommend looking for a rolling pin. You can even grab yourself a fork. Forks are really great for hand building because we're going to have to do some scoring into the clay, which we'll talk more about that. This is a rib tool. You probably want to get something like this. You can use this is an actual like plastic rib tool meant for clay projects, or you can use a credit card that you no longer need instead of throwing it away. Some sort of knife. This is like an envelope opening knife that I use for my projects. This is a sculpture tool, something with a pokey edge. This is really good for carving and little decoration, surface decoration that we're going to talk about. You can also use like chopsticks. just something pokey. And I really like having a squirt bottle around. It's not completely necessary, but the spray of the water helps to evenly disperse moisture over my projects while I work. So I do tend to, I think that I need this personally. So there's that, which you could probably also find at a Goodwill, like a Home Depot. Have a rag, any sort of rag will do, even like a old t-shirt or something. You don't have to go run out and buy a big thing of rags, but it's nice to have something to dry the wet clay off of your hands while you work. Of course, you'll need your clay. I've used a lot of this clay from this bag. You see this, what is this called? Not a zip tie, but you're definitely gonna need to have some sort of tie to tie off your clay while you're working. If you don't tie off your clay and you leave your bag of clay open, you're gonna have your whole bag of clay dry out if you end up leaving it open overnight, which will be a pain in the butt for you. So make sure you tie off your clay. And besides that, I think that's generally it. We're gonna look at a lot more tools over the course of the semester, but I want you to just start with that and make sure to also like find a nice space for some storage, and a studio is something that is just going to change over time. So you can always just adjust as you go.